Good morning, students. This is Civic Education Js1. Our topic for today is Nigerian Constitution. We have the subtopics: definition of a constitution, sources of constitution, functions of a constitution, and classification of constitution. Step 1. Definition of a constitution. A constitution can be defined as a body of agreed laws, rules, principles, and regulations which govern a country. It states how the powers governing a country are shared and exercised by the various levels, organs, and agencies of government. A constitution can also check and set the limits to both the action of government and its citizens. Remember, the constitution is superior to all the other laws of the land. Sources of constitution. Number 1. Acts of Parliament. Acts of Parliament are the laws made by the legislative arm of the government, like the National Assembly or the State House of Assembly, and can become part of the Constitution. Number 2. Past constitutions. Some past constitutions and constitutions of other countries most often form the basis of any new constitution. For example, the American Constitution provided Nigeria a model for the 1979 Constitution. Also, this 1979 Constitution of Nigeria formed the basis for the current 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Number 3. Constitutional Conference. Constitutional Conference. Most times, some countries organize conferences where constitutional issues are discussed and constitution drafted. For example, the defunct Constituent Assembly drafted and adopted the 1979 Constitution. Number 4, we have international documents. The provisions of important documents like the fundamental human rights embodied in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights articulated by United Nations in 1948, reflected in the Chapter 4 of the 1999 Nigerian Constitution. Number 5, we have past experience. Past experience. The historical, political, social, and religious experiences of a people are considered while preparing the basic rules, laws that govern them as a group. We also have customs and traditions, still on sources of constitution. These are the norms, social values, beliefs, ideals, and institutions of the people, and these are important in the formulation of the Constitution. Number 7, judicial precedents. These are past judgments handed down in the law courts on important constitutional matters, and they often form the basis for a new constitution. All right, that is that for sources where we get our constitution from. Step 3, we have functions of a constitution. The functions of constitution are clearly stated down here. Number 1, the constitution acts as a guide to both the government and the people in the conduct of their activities. Number 2, it states the ideals, principles, purposes, and aspirations of the country. 3, it defines the powers of the different levels, organs, and agencies of the government, as well as their relationship to one another. A constitution states the type of political system the country will run, whether federal, unitary, presidential, or parliamentary. 5. A country's constitution states clearly the fundamental rights and duties of its citizens. And number 6, the constitution is supreme and symbolizes the sovereignty of a nation. 7, as the last, the constitution prescribes the qualities and qualifications of the ruler and definitions of their powers. We have here classification of constitution. Constitution can be classified as written documents, unwritten documents, rigid or flexible. Written constitution. What is written constitution? A written constitution refers to a single document in which the fundamental laws, principles, norms, rules, and regulations which govern a country are put down in writing. The provisions are all written down in one single document and adopted by a constituted body. These single documents can be, the examples of these single documents are Acts of Parliament. They are all written documents. Acts of Parliament, past constitutions, constitutional conferences, international documents are all examples of written documents. For example, the Nigerian Constitution of 1979 was adopted by a group known as the Constituent Assembly. Nigeria, America, Ghana, etc. are some examples of countries with written constitutions. We have the advantages or merits of written constitution. Number 1, written constitution is clear and definite and easy to refer to when necessary. Number 2, it ensures political stability. 3, it is not influenced by individuals. And 4, it secures people's rights and liberties. We have the disadvantages here. Number 1, written constitutions are rigid and not easily adaptable to changing situations. They cannot be easily amended. Number 2, it discourages reforms because of its long process of amendments. Number 3, written constitution can cause frequent conflicts amongst the three arms of government, especially if their functions are not specified. We also have unwritten constitution. What is unwritten constitution? An unwritten constitution is one in which the fundamental laws, principles, customs, rules, and regulations which govern a country are not written down in any single document. They are not written down in any single document. Examples of those unwritten documents can be past experiences, customs and traditions, and judicial precedents. Now, Britain is an example of a country with unwritten constitution. And also take note that unwritten constitution is always flexible. We also have the advantages or merits of unwritten constitution. Number 1, it is flexible and easy to amend. Number 2, it is easy to interpret because of its unwritten nature. Number 3, its flexibility helps to reduce friction amongst the three organs of government. And number 4, unwritten constitution can be stretched to meet changing circumstances of the society. We have the disadvantages of unwritten documents. Number one, since unwritten constitution is flexible and easy to amend, government might be tempted to change it at will. Number two, it is difficult for citizens to know their constitutional rights and duties since they are not written down in a constitution or in a single document. Number three, it can easily lead to dictatorship or arbitrariness by government in the exercise of power. That is, it can lead to one-man rule. All right. We also have here rigid constitution. When we talk about rigid, what does it mean? A constitution is defined as rigid when it cannot be easily altered or amended. Here, a constitutional amendment requires special process or a complicated method before it can be carried out. This is true of Nigeria and the United States. Federal constitutions are rigid since they are written. Is that clear? Now, flexible constitution. Flexible constitution is defined as the type of constitution that is easy to amend. The process of passing a bill into law is usually the same for amending a flexible constitution. British Constitution serves as a good example of a flexible constitution. Now, in Britain, the parliament is sovereign and can by simple act change any law at any time because their constitution is flexible and they are not being written down in a single document. All right, that is the end of our class for today. I have activity here for you to do. You are going to look up the meaning of the following words in the dictionary. Number one, we have defunct. 2, arbitrary. 3, stability. 4, diversity. 5, foster. 6, autonomy. 7, amendment. 8, articulate. 9, subordinate. And 10, diplomacy. All right, do have a nice day and make sure you stay safe. Bye-bye.